Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Adam's clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. This podcast features powerful hypnosis, so do not listen while driving or operating machinery. This recording is not suitable for those with epilepsy or severe mental health issues. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here, and in today's episode of The Hypnotist, we're going to be doing a random hypnosis session based on the random destination from Earth Roulette, a random emotion generator, and a random noun generator. So for those watching on YouTube, I'm going to share my screen so you can actually see what I'm doing live, and then I'm going to explain for the audio podcast listeners what I'm doing as well. So let's, here we go, jump onto here. So I can see the destination from last time, so I'm going to click spin it. And this will give us a new, so this is actually a place that I've been before. It's a place called Evora, or Évora, I guess, because the accent over the E, Évora, in Portugal. Now, I went there because it was a location for a capoeira workshop. Must have been a long time ago, about 15 years ago. I used to play a lot of capoeira. It's a Brazilian martial art. And this is a city in Portugal where they had this big campsite, and it was very cool there. So I've got positive memories associated to this place in Évora, so I can create a nice picture in my mind, and we're going to use this as a backdrop for the hypnosis. So it's very random. I haven't had that memory in a while. The random emotion generator, we're going to randomize two words, shame and anger. Interestingly, both considered unresourceful states, but again, my belief is that all resource or all emotions are resourceful in the right context, or a useful place to move from them to somewhere else. Sometimes they're almost a bit of a signpost to get you from one place to a different place. And the random words, I'm going to generate 3 random words here. Bang, almost the onomatopoeic word for, a noise, like a loud bang. Designer, which is also associated with status or quality or creativity. And one of my favorite words, tactic. Tactic is the idea at the point of execution rather than strategy, which is a longer term game plan. So I like these words. They're all useful resources. We've got a nice backdrop here. Going back to the recording, I'm going to use my sound timer here. So it's going to be about 15 minutes long. And the random language pattern card is the 4 of Hearts, if you can see that on the screen. And this is of the Mike Mandel language pattern cards. And I'm going to read this out as it says on the card. Letting go is easy to do. It's another one of those language patterns that requires 0 effort from the subject. In fact, when the client lets go, it means he's actually stopped doing something or being something. And that's easy to do, isn't it? And the example is, so as you breathe quietly and effortlessly, at the perfect rate, you can let go of all tension and feel wonderful. Now, I actually use this a lot anyway, partly in the induction area. So let go of stress, let go of worries. I quite like it. I like that phrase as well, that actually it's the absence of doing things. And a few years back, to face one of my fears, I started doing stand-up comedy. And one of the guys that I was doing stand-up comedy with on the same open mic circuit, he had this joke, and the joke was that he would do anything for his wife. So he grew a beard, which basically meant he did nothing. So the punchline was, I would do anything for my wife. She wanted me to get a beard, and basically he would do nothing for her was kind of the punchline. I've delivered that very badly, but he delivered it very well. So letting go basically is the absence of doing things, which in itself is effortless. So we're going to get straight on with the hypnosis. So find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed, relax, and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow feelings of worry and tension to be released. On the next inward breath, breathe in that resourceful feeling of relaxation, and if it's safe to do so, on the very next breath, allow your eyelids to close. And in doing so, notice that you're letting go of that tension around your eyelids, around your eyes. Tension requires you to hold on to something. Tension is necessary. You can't stand without tension. You can't talk without tension. You can't move or do anything without tension. The tension is functional. The contraction of muscles in a particular sequence to enable you to do things. And you like to do things. To walk, to move. But here right now, as you listen to my voice, you don't need to do those things. So I want you to give yourself permission to really let go. And in letting go, notice that you breathe differently. Notice those places where you were holding on to tension. It starts to change your posture, the feelings in your body. And I want you to scan your body like a submarine radar, scanning for the places where tension still remains, knowing that with each and every breath, you are able to let go. I want you to imagine that you're looking at Earth from space, maybe a distant star, and I want you to get a sense that you're traveling to Earth from space, and I want you to see Europe there, on that globe, that sphere in front of you. See Spain, and then on the left side of Spain, I want you to see that unique coastal part of Portugal, and imagine drifting down towards Portugal. But rather than going to the beaches and the coast, I want you to imagine that you're going to a city, perhaps an hour away from the coast, and there in the center. And I want you to see a city known as Evora. An old-fashioned city. I want you to see there's a Roman temple there, large cathedrals, lots of churches, palm trees. And I want you to imagine landing there in the main square next to a cathedral, seeing the beauty of these old buildings, feeling you're thousands of miles away from any stress. And as you do so, I want you to notice. I want you to notice that here in this place you're able to feel far away from any stresses, any worries. And you see something unique there. I want you to see a circle of people dressed in white, listening to the beat of a drum, some strange instrument. See two people there in the middle of that circle, in what looks to be a combination of a dance or some kind of fight. Except they don't touch each other. Their legs swirl around, missing each other by just a few inches. And as you listen to the sound and see the movement of the bodies, I want you to imagine that you're entering a trance state. a trance state where your mind is able to just feel like it's far away, a different place. That's right. Feeling far away. And there, under the blue skies, lost in your imagination, it's almost like you're entering space, but within your own mind. A galaxy almost. And here in this place, I want you to think back to a time where you felt shame. And it takes a lot to feel shame. Shame requires judgment. But not just the judgment of other people. Shame requires the judgment of yourself. For you to evaluate who you are and what you've done, and to feel a sense that that isn't right, that you're judging, you're evaluating, that sensation is not acceptable. That behavior, that thought, that idea. Shame can be one of the most powerful motivators for a decision. Maybe back then when you felt that shame, maybe it led you to make a decision. And I want you to think of a big decision as passing a point of threshold, almost a light switch or a bang goes off in your mind, and nothing is the same from that point forwards. That shame that you felt will continue with you until you make a decision, perhaps to introduce a new rule, a new standard as to who you are and what you will do. I want you to imagine that you are the designer of your life. It's down to you to decide what kind of person you are, who you want to be. And with that in mind, I want you to think about your future now. And if you were designing your life, what does that have more of and less of? Maybe it's more freedom, more choices. And sometimes a powerful state to unlock the energy needed to live a life of design is anger. Not angry at yourself, but angry at the missed opportunities if you were to allow life to continue in the way that it is, and you don't. Introduce the tactics, implement the changes necessary for you to live your life. A tragedy is knowing that your life could be so much better or different or more empowering, and then choosing not to do that. And I want you to let go of all those things that are holding you back. The real shame is knowing you could live a magnificent life and then being too afraid to do what's necessary to live it. The real anger should be if at the end of your life you're filled with regrets of all the things you could have done, but didn't. So allow that explosion, that bang to take place there in your mind. And imagine designing the ideal future. How you want your life to be. What do you want to live? What's your relationship? Your friendships? How do you spend your time? What do you do? How do you impact the world? And then imagine a key going into a lock, and you're unlocking the creativity and the wisdom to introduce the tactics required for you then to live that life. Designing an ideal life for you, but then not doing anything about it, is wishful thinking. There's no point creating a vision board of your ideal life if you sit around hoping that things are going to change. Consider a vision board or a design of your future as almost like a business plan. A business plan that requires decisions and effort and fine-tuning. The life of your designs is there for the taking, but only if you do something. Tactics are what you actually do. What emails will you send? What conversations will you have? What will you do when you wake up each morning? What will you refuse to do from this point forwards? Take all that shame, all that anger from the past, and funnel it into an idea that you can and you will live a life of your own designs. If not now, then when? And if it's later, what if that same hesitation also comes later? The time to make changes is always when you feel that something has changed. Shame and anger are so useful to get you to the point of a crossroads. Will you turn left? Will you turn right? Will you allow the status quo to continue? Or will you let go of the past and chart your own future? Tactics are like a map getting you to a destination. Looking at the map won't do anything. But reading a map and then deciding based on your environment where you are and where you want to get to and what you will do to move forward to live a life by your design means. What if shame and anger is exactly what you needed to get you to this point where you make a change so that later you look back and feel inspired, proud of who you are, and more importantly, the life that you've lived. And then you realize that these are just thoughts bubbling around the head of someone there watching a group of people playing capoeira in a square in a beautiful city under blue skies. You could choose to just go back to normal, or you can choose to take that anger, that shame, to allow the bang to create a change when nothing's the same after that point. Your life is here, now, but won't be here forever. This is your window to choose to be the designer of your life. And then imagine floating back upwards into space, and then back down into your body, firmly in the present, letting go of everything that stops you from living your life on your terms. And now it's time to wake up. As I count from 1 to 10 to awaken you, you'll awaken feeling resourceful, motivated, and being willing and able to execute the tactics required to move your life in the very direction you want to take it. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.
Thank you for listening to The Hypnotist with Adam Cox, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. To automatically receive the latest episodes, please subscribe. If you'd like to support the show, please share this episode with just one friend you think it could help. And if this episode helped you, please leave us a 5-star review.